Welcome to Kenyan Biographies. Today we tell the story of Mama Yooh from Mathare. This is a story of survival, loss, and the quiet strength that keeps a family going. Over the next hour, we will trace the events that shaped her life from childhood, imprisonment, fire, floods, and the long road to recovery.
Kwa majina naitwa Koleta Uor. Hiyo Mama Yooh ni nickname, jina ya mtaa. Nilizaliwa 1981. 1981 nimeguru na wazazi wangu wakiwa hai. Tulikuwa tunaishi na brother yangu mbigi. Pia alipass. Sasa ni kustruggle tu na maisha. Hadi nikazaa first born wangu. Kwa bado class 8. Nikasafa tu na yeye nikimlea tu one man. Ndio kagusa yako na 24 years. Before hapo nilishikwa akiwa na 13 years, nikaenda Langata women prison. Nilikuwa napenda shule mbaya, hata ilikuwa nimalize tu class 8 nitafute niende high school, nitafute hata kule, na vile sikufika hapo. Sasa nilipata ball kama niko class 8, nikazaa tu na hivyo ndio ni drop shule. Wazazi wangu hawakuwa. Budaka alinitoroka kizani. Sasa after 6 years akanitrace na mtu akanidanganya 20 tao. Kwenda tao after kula chipo. Mtu yeye alikuwa analilia yogurt. Nikarudi kumbaia. Alikuwa na dinga. Akaniambia niende nimbaie. Kutani nyuma hivi sioni gari. Ndio nikauliza kulikuwa na soja mwingine hapo alikuwa na kwa hiyo gate ya supermarket. Akaniambia huyu sasa ameenda sana na gari. Wamedevgera na wakaenda. Na siku hata na simu. Kidogo hivi akampeleka kwa bibi yake Zimmerman, bibi mdogo. Ndio nimtrace huko Zimmerman, ikakuwa ni wao. Akapeleka kama mtoto ushago akiwa na 6-7 years. Ndio nikamtrace hadi ushago. After 1 year ndio nikakujaga naye.
Life was proving to be the champion in the boxing ring. Throwing yet another heavy punch, a jail sentence at Langata Women's Prison.
Nilishikiwa Inda prison, nilipeleka msee Bangi. Sasa hapo ndo nilishikiwa. Nikapelekwa Langata. Nikakaa 2 years. Rudi nikapata kama grow. Hapo mkubwa hapo shule alidrop jusikuwa. Sasa hapo ndio maisha ilinichapa, nikastruggle kutafuta nyumba, vitu zangu vile niliacha sikupata. Nikaanza tu maisha tena fresh. Nikastruggle na yeye hadi wa leo.
Mama Yooh served 2 years, leaving her young daughter, Immaculate Akinyi, under the care of family and friends.
Mimi naweza waambia hiyo kuruka mtoi imaanisha ati umewin. Kitu ya kwanza we ni failure, umefail mtoi wako. Na kuna venye unaweza niambia mtoi hata kutafuta after 18 years. Mtoto mjinga peke yake ndiye anaweza tafuta mtu alimruka ati 18 years. Hakuna mtu anaweza tafuta mwanaume alishindwa kutake responsibility. So wewe kama umepeana mimba, acha kujifanya ati unajipunish wewe peke yako. Hakuna mtu unapunish. Mdema ametake responsibility, hoja take responsibility. Wewe ndo fala. Hakuna mtu atakuja kukubembeleza ati take responsibility. Hakuna hapa nje mwenye atani. Ni utumie akili yako. So sidhani ati umewin. Una fail mtoi wako au fail dem. Maisha ya dem. Mimi hata saa hii ukiona single mothers wa saa hii maisha inaendelea vizuri sana, na uwezi jua mtu ni single mother. Wewe unaishi kwa guilt life yako yote. na mdemu wako. Saa zingine hata unazaa mtoi mwenye ni duanzi, wengine wanatoa mata, unasahau hata ulirukanga. Alafu siku hizi karma haikawi 1 year tu ushaanza hata kama ulikuwa unaenda shule na ulipeana mimba usha drop. Maisha imeanza kucha. Mimi nimeona wengi hapa mtaa. Wengine hata mimi mwenyewe ni single mom. Unaona? Hata my sisters. Wengine ni mmoja tu ameolewa, unaona? Na life ya hao wase wamepeana mimba. Wengine hata ni mtu alikuwa, wengine mmoja alikuwa ni medicine, ni wa medicine, alikuwa anafanya KU. Sasa hii ni beba hapa. Drugs imemaliza, amejaribu wizi, amepigwa na mob. Like ni wewe unachukuanga baraka zako. Unaona? Ukishapeana mimba wele, hata kutuonyesha venye wewe ni superstar hapa nje. Sisi hatutaki kuona superstar wako. Wele ya mtoto, acha story mingi.
She completed her sentence and was reinstated back to society, starting life all over again.
Nilikuwa napeleka msee, alikuwa customer wangu. Anampeleka bangi jela, aliniambia nimtafutie bangi za punch. Nimrudi bangi za punch nimpeleke Inda. Sasa kuniambia vile naweza ingia nazo. Mimi nikajipeleka hadi waiting room hapo Inda. Ikafika saa ya kuonana hapo kwa line. Ukienda kuvisit mtu wako, mnapeana ID, unaambiwa mngoje majina. Sasa vile ID zilikaa, mtu kaitwa majina, kwenda kwa line, nilikuwa na Mathare kwa kichwa. Kabla 30 minutes kulikuwa na soldier gateman na madam akaniambia, we madam, hebu toa kitambaa ufanye hivi. Kutoa kitambaa kwa kichwa, kufanya hivi, bangi zikamwagika. Sasa hapo ndio aliniuliza ni nini. Nilishtuka hadi nikajikojolea, nilishinda kitu kusema. Ndio akanipeleka police station ya Inda. Nikakaa 3 days huko. Nikapelekwa kotini siku ya kwanza. Nikajajiwa na judge. Nikarudishwa rumande. Nikakaa 2 days, nikarudi kotini. Wakanisomea makosa yangu na nikafungwa 2 years. Sasa hapo ndo nikapelekwa Lango. Maisha ya Lango ilikalia ngumu, kitu sijazoea. Shughuli ni kufungiwa tu ndani, nikitoka kidogo nikwenda kukula, kuhesabiwa. Siku ya kwanza sikuwa najua hesabu ni nini. Watu washa inama, mimi bado nimesimama. Ndio fulani akanipiga na pipe. Sikuwa nimeshikanisha rada. Ile harakati ya kuhesabiwa, watu walikuwa nainama watu 5 mnaacha gap. Sasa mimi sikuwa najua. Sasa after hapo nikazoea tu, nilikuwa nashindaga tu nimelialia ndani. Nilikuwa nimeacha mtoto wangu akiwa na 13 years. Na vile hii mtaa inakuwa mbaya, ukiacha mtoto wako hivyo anaweza repiwa ama ingekuwa kikundi mbaya. Sasa nikakaa Lango. Baada ya 2 months nikasikia msana wangu alishikwa tao kwa klabu. Sasa nilikuwa na stress, mtoto wangu ataletwa hapa Lango, na vile huku Lango kuna magame, kuna malezi bwana. Hii kitu ilikuwa inaniuma sana. Kumbe alipelekwa Kabete. Wakapeleka jela ya watu hiyo. Sister yangu na buda yake wakamshughulikia, wakamtoa. Lakini bado mimi nilikuwa tu na stress ndani Lango. Mtakuja kuniona hakuna, mtakunijulia hali. Namba za watu zote nilisahau. Uzuri nikapata mabeshte zangu wengine hapa wa mama wawili. Kuna ishigi nao Githurai, hao ndo akanituliza roho. Nikaanza kuzoea maisha ya jela. Kurudi 2015 nikapata msana wangu aliachaga shule. Anatembea na mbugi ingine wanajitagaza slim. Sasa hiyo magaza ndio walikuwa naongozana tu nao akiingia klabu. Kina hiku nifurahisha. Na ni magadi wa leo. Tutangu kuacha shule. Kwa nini nilikuwa nimempangia gasome anitoe hata hii ghetto. Sasa haikuwezekana. Sasa maisha kaza tu kunichapa hivyo. ni kuasol tu. Budake alimurukaga hata kumtafutia hata bath hajaimpea. Tutonga hakuna kazi anafanyaga, ni kufulia tu watu mtando tukule. Juzi nikarudisha biashara yangu hapa niuze, nikapeana tena kwa makarao. Wakakuja wakanivuruga. Nikagonjeka. Hadi wa leo sijarudisha kazi, niko tu hivyo. Mtoi mdogo niko naye, mtoto hajui kitu, yeye anataka akiamka yeye anataka mandazi. Nikulialia tu. Henry alikuwa best yangu. Bado alikuwa mteja wangu. Sasa ndio nikabonga katuri ba ingine hapa nice. Akaniambia shughuli anafanyaga. Sasa hiyo ndio tukazoea naye. Hadi akaniambia tawaleta. Nilifurahi sana. Mimi ndio mama, mimi ndio baba. Mimi sina mbele wala nyuma.
Having no finances, she saw it was best she goes back to what took her to prison. This time, doing it more carefully until another punch was thrown at her.
Kulikuwa na science. Kufunza mtoi. Hakukuwa na job hiyo time. So, the only way, shortcut. So, unajua shortcut ni gani? Kuuza ngwai. Ngwai inaenda haraka juu watu wengi wanatumia ngwai. Watu wengi wanatumia ngwai. Ngwai, unaona stock yako ya ngwai huwezi kaa nayo hadi kesho. No time ngwai ilikuwa ngambao moja. So ilikuwa cheap. Alikuwa single mom. Msee amekujenga mimba hapo. Yeye ameingia. Sasa hizo ndio umejua vijana wengi hiyo time walikuwa wanapeana mimba. Alafu hiyo time ndio amegundua sasa anaweza oa mtu mwingine. Anakupea mimba unateseka, alafu sana oa mtu mwingine. Sasa yeye ako na mtu mwingine huko, unahangaika na mtoi wake. So mimi naweza sema challenge nyingine ilikuwa hiyo. Huyo mwanaume alichangia.
Kwa wiki na kamtazi kuna mwenye anakaa Wednesday na anataka tango ya so. Sasa hizo kama una anakubumburusha.
Anapanga wamepanga every week.
Mimi niko na makara wawili. Nilikuwa tu na makara wawili ndo alionyeshwa hapa. Walikuwa wale makara wabaya. Si ndio ni mapedi tu wenzangu. Diblo yote tu siwezi choose. Nikitoka jela 13, nilitoka jela 2015 Januari. Sikupata vitu zangu. Yeye nikampata hapa kutua hapa aliacha shule. Ndio nikaanza maisha kutafuta nyumba, kutafuta nini. Nikarudia tu hiyo biashara yangu ya kuuza bangi, juu sikuwa na otherwise.
Fire was the other punch that was thrown at Mama Yooh by life. This time, the punch was a left one, and later, the right punch was thrown, leaving her completely homeless, having to start life one more time.
Nikakaa kama sina nyumba, naishi tu kwa watu, sina nguo za kuvaa. Yeye alikuwa anaishi tu kwa marifu zake.
Mimi nilikuwa naona tu mdemu wake mtaa akitembea tu. But me personally nilifeel tu familia hakuna mali wanachangianga kama msea yuko. Unaweza pata percentage kidogo sana ya familia ndio uchunga watoi wa watu kama msea yuko. Siwezi sema ati familia walikuwa hapo watu wanachangia ni siwezi sema. Mimi nilikuwa namuona mtaa. But mimi nilifeel. Mimi nasema kitu na feel familia waupenda watoi wao wase kama wako kama mzazi yako, but kama mzazi hayuko hakuna mtu anatake. Kwanza isitoshe kama kwenyu hamkukuwa na pesa, wewe jua mtoi wako atateseka.
Nilikuwa nalala na watoi down, nilikuwa nalala kwa nyumba na watoi, bado sikuwa nimebaibai vitu. Sasa ile nikasikia majirani kupiga manduru. Jirani, amkeni, maji na tuingililia. Ilikuwa ni saa 6 usiku. Sasa hapo ndo nilijiokoa mapema kabla maji, na mimi nakoga mama raundi usiku. Na imagine kama singekuwa watu wangu wangedidi wote. Hiyo siku toka nje jumba ilianza mapema. Hata 2016 nikapata nyumba tena. nikakaa nikichapana tu nikiasolasol tu mtaa. Katafuta nyumba nikaishi huko Gateway tena 2023 nikachomekewa tena, maisha ikanichapa, nikarudi tena zero hadi wa leo. Maji kakuja kanibeba vitu kila kitu, tena ni maisha ingine. Sasa tangu hiyo maji nibebe ndio nimestika hapa, nalipa nyumba za 2, niko na mtoi, ndio last born wangu. Sasa hadi wa leo niko tu hivyo.
Natoka Mathare. Mimi ni mental health ambassador kutoka Shofco, na mimi ni young mother. Na do fashion bado. Mimi ni makeup artist, mimi ni actress na content creator. So mimi na Mama Yooh tumejuana, like mimi nimegrow kumuona. Ndio kidogo alinipotelea. Mimi nimegrow ya huko mtaa Mathare. Nilikuwa kitu class 3. Ndio nimeanza kujua Mama Yooh. Na saa hii nilishamaliza. So tumejuana for a long time sana. Though alikuwa mkubwa na mimi nilikuwa mdogo, na bado tumejuana hadi mpaka saa hii. So Mama Yooh ni msemfiti sana. Ako na watu 2.
Mimi hadi sikuanga best ya Mama Yooh kwanza. Tulikam tukajuana juu ya biashara. Hadi yako hiyo atanijua. Hadi alikuwa ananiuliza, unatokanga wapi? Juu hadi sikuonangi Mathare. Nikamwambia mimi ukamingi kuona mzae wangu huku kwetu ni umoja. Akaniambia na wewe ni msempoa. Nikamwambia kama unaweza look ndakuwa nakuja kukupromote. Lakini hapo mbele venye marafiki walimtenga, mimi ndo nilikuwa nakaa mnanunua nguo. Hadi ananiambia chukua tu hii ndo nipate hadi ndo kukula sapa. Nachukua na naacha hadi nimemfanyia shopping. Nimembaia kitu kama mafuta ya taa, unga, na nambaia hadi kama ni kastiu ya mboga na mayai akule. Sasa hapo hivyo alikamingi akakuwa best yangu. Jua kwa iko na rafiki after hapo. Au Mamorio wote walikuwa best yake wote. Walikatanga kukamingi hadi kumuona. Hadi bila chakula hizi saidiwa. Yeye akaenja na mtoto wake na akiwa na mimba. Sasa mimi ndo nilikuwa naenda hadi akiniona na furahi. Jua alikuwa ngadi depressed, akiniona nasikia tu kafuraha kamekuja.
Ule nilimzaa nikakaa naye for 6 years. 6 years budake akakuja akambeba, akamuiba. Struggle vile naweza mpata. Hadi nikapewa information ya kwenda ushago kwao, nikaenda nikamget. Ukakaa 3 days nikapanda naye gari tukarudi kama watu waocha wajui. Ndio ilibidi nianze kuuza tire, ndio nianze kumsomesha.
She was still strong and soldiered on since she had loyal customers who were readily available to consume her product. All this time, her daughter is still by her side.
Mimi naitwa Zaitun, natoka hapa Mradi. Hiyo time nayo unajua maisha ilikuwa ngumu. Juu alikuwa anajaribu kupanda, anashuka. Alikuwa anajaribu kuanzisha biashara, inaanguka. Juu hadi akizaa mtoi wake, hakukuwa hadi na look. Nguo mtoto alizaliwa hivyo bila nguo. Alikuwa anavaa nguo za mjukuu wake sasa. Mjukuu wake ni mkubwa wa huyu. Mwenye saa alipelekwa ocha. Sasa mjukuu wake hizo nguo zake kubwa ndio mtoto amelelewa nazo. Sasa mimi ile kidogo yenye nilikuwa napata, nilikuwa ngambaia chakula yeye na mtoi wake hadi pampers.
Kitu ya kwanza elimfunza ako peke yake kwa hii dunia. Ni yeye, yani yeye ndo stero kwa hii life yake. Hakuna msee mwingine. Kitu kingine, watu hawakupenda kama uko hapo. Kama yuko hakuna story yako inaisha hivyo. Ni kama tusemee sasa ukikufa tutakulia leo tu, kesho si tuko zetu.
All these disasters must have done terrible mental damage to Mama Yooh and her family. Expert opinion had to be sought to confirm their mental well-being.
First of all, it impedes your sense of self.
because one thing happens while you're still in recovery of whatever has just happened, you're still in the process of processing it, another one occurs to you. So you're stuck in a loop while you're still in recovery. It's like climbing a ladder, then as you're going up, it keeps breaking down. So it keeps returning you to the initial step. You think you're making progress, but it takes you right back. So that is the first one, like you can just feel it as a person. But to your mental health, it can cause, it's quite a technical thing, but you can develop what is called complex post-traumatic disorder, such that your body is stuck in this flight or fight mode, like you're in just a survival mode. My name is Mathare. I'm a finalist at KCA University, pursuing my Bachelor of Arts in Counseling Psychology, and also a peer counselor at the KCA University Peer Counseling Club. I work closely with our counseling center as a peer counselor, where I've gained some field experience on practical counseling work.
Though life threw many punches at Mama Yooh and her family, she remains strong and resilient.
Mimi nafikiria, sifikiri ana deserve a second chance. Hiyo si ati nafikiria ama ni tafadhali ama nini, ana deserve a second chance kwa sababu tangu Mama Yooh atoke jela sijamuona na nini. Mimi naweza sema mimi ndio beshte yake. Aongeangi na wamama ati ovyo ovyo. Mimi ndio beshte yake, na maybe hao maneiba wako hapa nje. Na watu wao kama hapa kama nyinyi hivi, unaona. Siwezi sema hivyo ati nini. So ana deserve second chance kwa sababu hajarudi kwa venye alikuwa kitambo. Sasa yeye tumuogope. Unaona? Tuko free sana. Ana deserve, mimi kwangu tu ana deserve. Ana deserve. Hakuna mtu akoseangi.
Ili ni affect vile nilikuwa, nikarudi down tu hivyo. Nijifundisha kuishi na watu, kujua mabeshti ni akina nani. Hivyo tu. Kwa sikujifunza, lakini najua nilijifunza kushona. Sijaweka kwa mind yangu juu inafanyanga nakumbuka huko.
Yeye hufanyanga tu bizi zake. Yeye ni mtu anajitafutia. Akuombi. Yeye atajing'ang'ania hadi mtoto wake. Atajing'ang'ania. Ile kidogo anapata hadi so mbili watakula. Hii maisha kuna kupanda na kushuka. Na we mwenyewe ukiamua unataka kukaa chini utakaa chini. Ukiamua unataka kupanda utapanda. Sasa ni wewe ndio ujikakamue.
Sasa nikitoka jela sikuwa na maarifu, ndio nikana tu nishikilie kwa huyo boy. Singeweza kutangaza umaskini yangu juu walikuwa wamenishanibeba ndogo.
Alafu ilimfunza kuchoose wasee. Kuna wasee wapoa, alijua kuna wasee wapoa. Kama sisi sasa tunajua kuna wale wasee wapoa na wasee wabaya. Wale msimuwezi mtegemea. Kuna wasee wanaweza kurusha kwa ngori. In this case, before any psychological intervention is done, we need to address the external factors so that we start addressing what's in. For Mama Yooh, as you've seen, she got incarcerated. She comes out, there is fire, there is floods. First, get her housing, because how do you cancel someone who's going to go and sleep out in the street with her kids? There's a lot of things that can happen in the night out in the street. So when you need to first secure her housing. When she is housed, get her a job so that she doesn't go back to crime. Once these two things have happened, her kids are in school. So from then on, that is like forming a baseline of a safety net where she knows now these things won't be much of a bother. If these are the basic needs and they have been attended to, now we get now to her. We start working through all of these things that she has been through. If it's grief, because grieving never ends, and you can't say, I'm going to grieve for 3 months and it's over. You wake up 10 years and it's still fresh. You start crying like it just happened. So grief has no, you start working through the grief, the emotional needs what she needs. Then also you need to equip her with problem solving skills, communication skills. How do I communicate things? How do I solve things that come to me along the way? The challenges, how do I handle challenges that come on my day-to-day life? So yeah, those are the first things you need to address, the external. Then for the internal, you need to have individual therapy with her if it's something that she wants, she's ready to do. So she sits in for individual counseling to just work through the personal issues. Then maybe for the family unit, just for it to be strong, let me not quote it, for it to be a strong unit, you can sit through a family counseling. You can just do a family counseling session where the kids come in and the mother is there. So that is, you just teach them how to communicate amongst them and just to how to heal, because all these things have happened to each and every one of them. So that is how we heal, and that's how Mama Yooh in the future gets to know. Then equip her with entrepreneurial skills. You've housed her, but you won't feed her for the rest of the life. In English, they say you get a man a fish, then you're going to have to feed him for the rest of this life. But if you take him to the river and teach him how to fish, the problem is solved. So that's it on my end.
Hiyo moto ilikamingi juu ya stima, nare zilikam zikashikana zikachomeka, na ilikuwa masaa 6 za usiku. Sasa unajua ni giza sana, watu wamedozi, watu waliamshwa na moto, na hadi pale ndo utoke ulikuwa unatoka tu na nguo umevaa, hakuna kitu unaweza beba hivyo venye huko. Yali kujanga bila hadi kitu yoyote, vitu zenye ameng'ang'ania mtoto wake akiwa mdogo zote zilichomeka.
Ninataka nimerudi tena nyuma, ndio nilianza maisha juzi kutoka jela. Hii tena ni nini? Yaani moto ilinikula kila kitu hadi ID. Sasa ilikuwa 2016 hiyo, December date 9, nakumbuka sana. Moto ilitoka from nowhere. Mimi nilikuwa nimeenda usi, sikuwa nasikia fiti. Kurudi napata kumechacha, moshi, ambulance, hata hujui nyumba ilikuwa wapi. Vitu zangu zilichomeka zote.
Akiishi huko chini nayo venye alichomekewa na moto alikuwa hadi hayuko fine. Juu mabeste zake walimtenganga, hakukuwa hadi na marafiki, alikuwa naishingi peke yake, alikuwa na dozi nje ya mlango. Mimi sana nilikuwa naendanga namuona hiyo time alikuwa na bola. Moto ikimchomekea huko hivyo, alikuwa na mimba huyo mtu wake mdogo.
Niliishi na boy fulani tu kama beshte yangu. Aliniokorea na nyumba ya kuishi. Yule kwangu kulibana, akaniambia kama tuishi tu na huyo mtoi wako, ukistruggle kutafuta vitu unaweza pangisha nyumba ingine. Nikapata kazi Isili, nikafanya for 3 months. Lakini niko na shida ya spinal cord, singeweza kufanya kazi sana. Kuna matime inaniumaga. Sasa hizo ndio niko nalipa na save. Nikatafuta nyumba ya 25. Tena nikaanza maisha from there. Nikalala tu chini. Nikalala chini juu hata nyumba sikuwa nimeka vitu, baridi na watoto kwa nyumba, watoto kugonjeka, hauna vitu unaweza kula, ukikula labda uombe jirani, na majirani wezi omba mara 2 kama hajakutangaza. Ndio nikaamua kurudisha hiyo bangi niuze, ndio nikabai bedi, nikapata hii kiti. Ndio sasa naweza kaa kwa kiti. Nikavuta hadi na juu nyumba ni baridi bila stima.
Mimi ningesema tu Mboka yeye anatakanga job. Akiwa na kazi anaweza jenga hata nyumba, anaweza tafutia watoto wake hata luko avae. Hiyo kazi inamletea do. Lakini bado hadi mkimjengea keja bado itakuwa fine. Keja moja kubwa na hapo hivyo iko hadi na busy yenye anafanya.
Going against all odds to take care of her family. She represents many other women who experience similar challenges as they navigate life in informal settlements with hope that one day her generation will have a better life as opposed to the one she had.
Hawa toi, Mama Yooh sasa unajua anang'ang'ana na wake pia. Mtoi wake pia anang'ang'ana na mtoto wake. Sasa yeye, mtoi wake sasa unajua yeye ndiye anaendaga kutafuta rada. Akienda tafute ile kidogo anapata, yeye atakamnayo. Lakini we jua hadi Mama Yooh pia bizi yake ilikuwa fine hapa mbele, ilikamingi kaanguka tu.
Mimi na feel society ifai kujudge msee na vitu alikuwa anafanya kitambo. Huyu ni msee ametoka ndani anadai kuchange. maisha yake. Imagine anajaribu kubuild nini yake, hiyo CV ama profile ama maybe kuishi vizuri, alafu wewe unamjudge na kitu kitambo. Sasa unapata unampea ile ugumu ya akona ile ugumu wa kuchange juu ana feel kama amechange na bado watu wanaona haja change. Unaona, like tuseme ni poa acceptance community, kitu ya kwanza wanafaa ku accept msee back. Hakuna mtu akoseangi, so ni hiyo acceptance na watu wabari hizo vitu za kitambo. Hakuna mtu mwenye ni mpoa actually, so hizo vitu za kitambo at least tusaidie kuheal. Umse ametoka ndani bado hajaheal. Umepata labda lingi huko ndani na ngori yenye hata si yake, aliekelewa. Ametoka nje bado mnamnini, ni ku criticize. Criticize, mnamwambia mavitu mingi, ama msaidi. Juu bado mkiendelea hivi, anaweza fanya kitu mbaya zaidi, mumrudishe huko. Juu kama anafeel huko nje mumpendi, sieri akae huko ndani, aongoje siku yake ya kukufa.
Therapy sessions that I can recommend, mostly for students who are in tertiary institutions. Mental health services are free in your counseling center. Like, you're not going to pay, it's just free, like the way you go to your school clinic, and it's free. But for people who are not in institutions like this, who think they are not, you can go to level 4 and level 5 hospitals. It's a standard of care that level 4 and level 5 hospitals need to have mental health services being offered to citizens at some charge, but essentially it's supposed to be a free service. Because I may tell you here it's free, then you go to your local hospital and they charge you. It's supposed to be free, but these people charge maybe I think it's just a little. But if you feel like going overboard, you can go for private hospitals, which is going to be way costly. Then the other forms of therapy that don't need you to just pay. You could just take a walk, start taking care of yourself. Journaling is very powerful. Name your feelings. How am I feeling? Why am I feeling about it? Things like those communication skills, how you communicate, it's going to avoid these issues. So many of the problems you have is because of communicating and listening. So you can do a job, meditation. There are other ways of healing that doesn't necessarily need professional help. So yeah, that's it. Because restoring to normalcy to you seems impossible as well. You try to recover from maybe a fire. Floods happen, you're incarcerated. Like, you're trying to recover, so you just stuck in a survival mode kind of state that just takes you just there. You're just there. So yeah.
What are some of the emotional or psychological patterns that tend to occur with such an individual?
First in those that come are just two. One is dissociation, where so much has happened, and as your mind tries to protect you as a person, it's like a switch off. You exist as a person, but you have these gaps. So like you dissociate, you just emotionally you are cut off from people. You're there physically and stuff, but emotionally you just absent. You just dissociate. You're just there, you operating. Then the second one we can have is avoidance. You start avoiding these things that are triggering you because things are just happening. Maybe after incarceration, you're back from prison. So like you're like, this is where I got caught. This is where the trouble started. Then you're like, I'm off. Like, if this is what is going to return me there, you want an outside. There's dissociation, there's avoidance. Then there's just, what do they call it? You just hyper vigilant because these things keep on happening to you. So when life starts being good, you're like, oh God, when is the other shoe dropping? Like, you're just waiting. I mean, what's the worst that can happen to me? If so many things have happened to you, you just waiting for, like, you just feel like when life is good, it's a trick. There must be something coming up, or there's a dark shadow you think waiting for you around the corner to come get you. Yeah.
Looking at her environment, it's an informal settlement. How would you say it affects her ability to cope with the storm?
Informal settlements. One thing we have to agree is that informal settlements come with a wide range of factors that, in a way, they are not protective for. From the term informal, these people, they have problems from sanitation, eviction. You can have a home right now, then the next time you don't have a home, you can be evicted anytime. If anything happens, floods, if there is fire, like fire spreads there rapidly. So fire can start on the northern side and then get you to the southern side. So these people are just prone to disasters. If there is an outbreak, if there are floods, not tobacco, cholera, typhoid, they're just looking at them, they're waiting for them. So such factors, they are not protective. They actually, it's like a catalyst. You're already in survival mode. Then instead of having something that can, when in recovery, you need to come back to a safety net. But looking at the environment that Mama Yooh is in, there is just no safety net because the fire has come. How do you know after I rebuild there won't be another fire? So these things bring more stress onto the ongoing recovery. She's in recovery, but she's still, oh God, like you just waiting there, anything could be happening. So like these factors in the informal settlement, they exacerbate her symptoms. You're just there, you're just hypervigilant, you just don't know tomorrow. So you're living for today. So maybe even plans in investing in long-term projects seem far-fetched. You seem like, what if I do this big thing, then tomorrow floods come, my money, my investment is gone. So yeah.
So with this individual, after the flood came the fire. After the fire, imprisonment. How does imprisonment intensify this situation that she's in, where she's trying to heal but she cannot? Would you say that imprisonment plays the bigger role in everything?
Okay, in our justice system, we tend to look at what the person did rather than the underlying factor of what put them there. When we look at the story of Mama Yooh, she's growing up in an informal settlement. She loses her mom. Then while she's she's getting education, she gets pregnant. Then there's nobody who's there to support her. Just take, for example, it's just you're just there. You lose your mom, you get pregnant, then you have nobody to fend for you all of a sudden. So when she resorts into criminal activities that land her into incarceration to the law might seem like it's justice and it's punishment to her, but to Mama Yooh, it's injustice to her because the law has not taken into account what led her to doing that. She was just trying to fend for herself, just trying to make a living that got her into the wrong side of the law, not advocating for criminal activities to fend for yourself. No. So incarceration actually also it's still like a catalyst. It's like adding more fuel to the fire. So because most of our institutions where people are kept, let's just agree, they're not the safest you could be in. You might think you are there being kept safe and maybe you are trying to fight for your life in there from inmates. You start developing trust issues. So you are there, like when she goes there, she doesn't go with her child. So there's still separation. You're a new mom, you've just been separated, you start going there. Then you just you're wondering, am I a good mom? How can I protect my child? I'm not even with her. Then you've left your child in the company of friends or a family member. Then we all know the stories that just go around that are why you're wondering, is my child even safe? Am I even a good mom if I can't be even there to protect her? So you're battling that, you're healing from that, your mom you're trying to process grief, then you've been incarcerated, all these things are just happening to you. So it just adds on to the anxiety, to the stress that you already have. It's just like things keep coming to you and you just stuck in survival mode. So incarceration, it's not the solution. It actually adds on. You've just left your kid. When you get out, you know how the society perceives these people. When you get out, everybody's like, you're the criminal. If there's something that has happened and you just got out, it's obviously the person with a criminal record. So yeah, incarceration, to me, I'd say it's more fire to the fuel. It's more fuel to the fire.
So she's had multiple traumatic events. How would you say these events interact to affect her long-term mental well-being?
When I was these events, they are not just a one event one kind of trauma. In a way, they are interrelated. We start with grief. her story starts with grief. She's just lost her mom. While she's processing grief, she becomes pregnant. As she's trying to find herself, these things keep on coming to her. So all these things, they create, and then, during that time, also psychologically, you are an adolescent. So it's still a time in which you're trying to identify yourself. So you're trying to identify yourself, and we all know how adolescents can be so confusing. At times you wake up and you feel like, today maybe I'm feeling like I'd be a boy, or maybe you choose to be anything you'd want to be. Adolescent is so overwhelming. So while you're processing all these things, trauma comes to you. So it affects your sense of self as you trying to get an identity there. So in the long run, when all these things have happened to you, your sense of self and identity is fractured, or in a way, I'd say it's injured in a way, because like, who are you now? Who are you in between all these things? Are you a survivor, a victim? Who are you? So one, I'd say it affects your sense of identity and sense of self. That's one. Then another thing, we'd say that all these things, she just needs a safe place for her to just start her recovery. Because as much as these things are happening, she just needs someone to hold her hand. As we are seeing through her story, it's as if she has no one. Raising a child as a single mom, you've been incarcerated and all those things. She just needs protective factors like friends who are going to be supportive and walk with her the journey, because it's not like she'll ever go back to normalcy, but at least if you have a friend, you have someone to turn to with all this confusion and everything you are going through, it makes it a little bit easy. It's not saying that the trauma is going to be erased or you're going to forget. No. Actually, that is one thing that is misunderstood about trauma. Working through your trauma doesn't mean, like, yes, we say you're going to heal, but it doesn't mean necessarily we are wiping away everything, we are forgetting. No. The sky is there. It's like getting injured. But when you are healing from that trauma, it's like when you're triggered, when something happens, someone could come and scratch that wound and it doesn't hurt as much as it hurts the other time. Because as we see, she's still raising another child. How having a supportive friendship or something just protective helps her not to be able to pass the trauma down to her child. So yeah.
You have said that this makes her lose sense of self. Can we say that she will lose her self-worth? Will she feel like she's a nobody, and she will still feel like it's okay, I can still do these crimes and go back to prison? After all, I don't see the sense of existing or living life like a normal person.
When we say sense of self, yes, self-worth comes into question, because as much as if I were Mama Yooh, I'd be feeling like, am I even a good mother? Am I a good role model? Because all parents want to model this, be a good role model. So when you've been incarcerated, you come back, you've lost time with your child, they've not been there. So when you come back, you're wondering, am I going to be a good mom? Will I ever catch up? I miss the big and the small moments, because mothers are so sentimental about those things. I miss her first steps. Will we ever connect? So as self-worth is still there, it's going to be fractured because she feels like, and then in our community and societies, most people tend to let society define who you are. So when you come back, people are not receptive of you. When you come back from incarceration, you're being reinstated. So if people don't accept you, and then when something ever wrong happens and you're around, and maybe you're a crowd of five, it's always going to be you who has a criminal record. So yes, you're just going to be it's going to plant this idea of, am I the wrong one? You are a victim and you're trying to recover, but the things that are happening to you make you it makes you at a point start thinking like, or am I supposed to be going through this? Like you start making things your fault, or is this my fault that this happened? But natural disasters are not your fault. Mama Yooh was young when she got into crime. Maybe she didn't know any better on how she could start a business that would not land them in her on the wrong side of the law. So sense of self in this perspective is in form of identity and also self-worth. It could be fractured in, as I have said. Yeah.
What signs indicate that this individual is developing chronic stress post-traumatic stress disorder?
Mhm. The first one I'd go for right off my head is things like flashbacks, nightmares. You're trying to sleep and then maybe you just wake up and you're just screaming fire, fire, because maybe the fire came when you're sleeping. So you just sleep, then all of a sudden at night it's warm. So maybe warmth or being just, it just makes you start feeling, oh, like it takes you back there where you didn't feel fear. So things like flashback and yeah, then being on edge. You see, for Mama Yooh, things keep happening. These traumatic experiences keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. So she's ever hyper vigilant, wondering when is the next shoe going to drop. She's wondering what next is waiting for me. I'm trying to recover. I'm still fighting through this, but things keep coming. So there's the aspect of hyper vigilance. She'll just be, you keep watching over your shoulder. You are so on edge. Then there's anxiety. And then they could be things like memory gaps, one like you just keep losing your thoughts, or there's one also avoidance. You just want to just, there's them, there's you, because when you come back you're just trying to get sense of yourself, because when you're in prison you are a prisoner, so that is how you're identified there. So when you come back, you've been separated from your child. Now who are you now again? Imagine maybe for the 2 years she was in there, at least she had one way you describe her, she was a prisoner. But coming back, she's supposed to be a mom. She's supposed to find for means to get herself back on her feet, and she's still supposed to be herself. All these things are conflicting. Which one do I put first? Which one goes second? Or how do all these things, how do I work with them, all of them at a go, which could be overwhelming.
So Mama Yooh has been through multiple traumatic events. She's been to prison, and then she came out, and now she has a little girl. She's a parent, a single parent at that. Can we say that being a single parent is contributing to her stress, and how and can her being traumatized affect how she parents?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Mama Yooh being incarcerated, I'll start to get to the parenting. Children when they're young, they need their parents for security, for being validated, all those things. They shape how you're going to grow up. So growing up in a, like you don't have, like your mom was not there, then all of a sudden she appears. As a child, you just conflicted by what's going on. Maybe the first one, the people you were left with didn't take care of you as you would hope, and maybe you kept on wishing, if my mom were here, you lived maybe an if, or maybe the daughter had a good life. But maybe let's imagine the worst case scenario in this option. So she could develop what we call a disorganized attachment style, in which due to the lack of sense of security while she was growing up, she can't form secure. There are these kind of people you get in, like one time, people call it love bombing. You're in a relationship with someone, one time they are so present, they are so there, then all of a sudden they're just cold. It's not like it's you want it, it's like just it's a trauma response. So Mama Yooh's kid could end up having a disorganized attachment style due to this presence being in out. So it influences you to become also an in out kind of person. So secondly, Mama Yooh being a single parent, parenting is difficult. Let's just agree, parenting is difficult. At least when you are the two of you, you have someone to lean on. So let's see the things that Mama Yooh just lost her mom, so she doesn't have. If if you have a mom, maybe when things are going wrong, you'd be like, Mom, this is happening. Is it normal for a child to be like this? She doesn't have that person to ask. She doesn't have that person to confide in. Because at times, moms suffer with this thing called, oh God, am I doing this right? Am I a good mom? Who do you confide in? So she's just alone. You're grieving your mom. Then you're trying, all these things are still happening too, because your brain is never going to be quiet. It will never be curious. So that little voice inside your head is going to keep asking questions, more questions. So for Mama Yooh, it's a bit hectic for her. Yes, being a single parent, it adds on to the trauma. it's not giving her the peace or the safety net it's supposed to be giving her, because also looking that she was not present during the early years, she's going to obviously start overcompensating. So maybe it's going to still affect the child in a way, or even being overprotective. Because if we remember right, she got pregnant just after she finished her primary education. So she's still overprotective. When they see her child interacting with, she's like, you might get pregnant. She's going to be so overprotective, which for the child, it's going to be suffocating, because they're like, it may end up even causing problems, because this child is like, up until some time ago you are not there, then all of a sudden you are back, you want to put all these rules. It's going to be suffocating, and it's going to put a strain between the relationship between the daughter and the mother. Then the mother is just there suffering from caregivers burnout, because you are trying everything possible for you to be accepted, because you're like, if society can't accept me, I need to put my everything into you accepting me, because you're just I have in this whole world. So like Mama Yooh is trying, and then the trying to the child just seems like it's so suffocating for them, because it comes once and it maybe it was not there. She's still trying to get comfortable with the mom being around, but the mom wants to be just, I'm here and I'm here. Mama Bear is here. Yeah.
What about the little girl? Like, she has a 3-year-old. What would you say these circumstances will do to her?
First, for Mama Yooh, if she has a supportive community where she can lead on, that is neighbors, friends, who can be there to support her into gaining her sense of parenting back, because parenting changes. The parenting that was being done last year or 10 years ago, it's not happening. And maybe while she was away, there are things that have evolved. There are things that are new to this generation that she didn't live, that were not new to her. Maybe great, this new kid, she is in the era of iPads. But when she left, maybe Mama Yooh left kids just playing outside. So when these things come, she needs to have a community. So maybe if she has friends, neighbors who are going to support her, it will make it easier for her to connect. Then for this child, your mom has just come back, so you're trying to, and let me just call it as it is, there's just going to be some awkwardness of someone who's just been absent, then they are back. So you're trying to create room for them to be there for the role they are going to start playing from then on. So there's an intersectionality of these siblings, the mother, the elder child, and this small one, because maybe this elder daughter, she may be influenced by society to think maybe my mom is unstable, or she's unfit to be our mom, because look at the things that are happening to her. So maybe it may cause a strain if the daughter is influenced by what society thinks of her mom and starts projecting it onto the mom. It might lead to a severe case of her pulling out maybe the little child, denying her access, which instead of them thinking that they are doing her better by pulling her out, it makes these things worse, because these are the people who are supposed to make her feel seen, make her feel welcome. The society has already refused you. When your family refuses you and you're still battling all these things, you might find that she might start suffering from suicidal ideation, because she's like, what's the point at the end of it all? My mom is dead, my kids don't want me, all these things are happening to me. So it may lead to things like that. She may just be like, what's the point anyway? Then she might follow on committing suicide. But if the child is receptive, it's going to be a very good transition, as the elder child is there to fill in the gap when the mom was away. So when the mom comes back, the sister and the little baby, they are able to grow back up, like it's like building something from scratch. So like they just like, let's hold hands together, let's heal from this thing, because it has affected all of us. Her incarceration, as much as she thinks she's the one who was away, her children were still going through that. So it was psychological, because we all need our mom from time to time. Everybody needs their mom. So like, as much as she thought it was happening to her only, things that happen to us, it happens to you and the community around you. So yes, if they are receptive to her and they just accept her, it's going to be the first the first best protective factor, and motivation, because they're like, yo, at least I have people, even if the rest don't, this parental motivation at least is going to make her just be positive about life. And also, if they are receptive, she may also stay away from crime, because she's like, I know what crime has done to me. I can't afford to go back in prison. So if the kids just have a good bonding and they decide to heal together and spring out, as they are building their lives back from scratch, they start their relationship and family from scratch. That's a good call.
In response to these circumstances, what are some of the healthy and unhealthy coping mechanisms that this individual might develop?
I'll start with the unhealthy, because they are most likely the ones everybody resorts to. Even I, at times, I find myself doing the unhealthy things. So the first one may be resorting back to crime, because they feel like this thing of trying, when they get back, they've been in this state of just anxiety and just a lot of instability. So trying to be normal, maybe doing, maybe if she opens up a kiosk, maybe a kiosk it's not something she's used to, but resorting back to crime, it's something she's been in. So she's like, it's a kind of a state of normal to her. So first of all will be, she might relapse into crime. That is the first thing. Another one could be drugs and substance abuse, to just numb everything that is going on. We're in such an emotional roller coaster. A lot is happening that you think that drugs, in that moment, they seem like they're doing it. Like, I'm going to get drunk now, I'm going to be happy and forget. But when the euphoria fades out, it's going to be 8 a.m. in the morning the following day, and your problems are there, and maybe even more. Maybe you took alcohol with rent money, and the landlord is there. I need my money, or else you'd get addicted. So they turn to drugs, but the drugs they think is an escape, but it brings them more problems than the ones that they had before the drugs. So there is medicating, self-medicating, or the emotional numbing using drugs. There's also avoidance, in which you just want to be disconnected. You just don't want, you feel like it's too much work, or you just want, if you guys think I am unfit, you stay in your own cocoon of, well, good people, fit people, let me stay in mine. So you might find that there are friends and neighbors who want to support her, but her trust is just in shambles at the time. Because let's use the incarceration as a traumatic episode. Imprisonment is not easy. You fearing maybe you have had a beef with someone inside there, they might beat you up, they might poison you, these things that happens in there. So your trust is very shaky. So her coming back, she comes back with these trust issues. What if you want to do me bad? What if you want to set me up and I go back there? So these trust issues are going to affect her relationship, even with supportive frameworks. People who want to come in and just help and support her, she might start pushing them away. So there is avoidance, pushing them out, pushing away or just total refusal, for they're like, this is too good to be true. Or maybe you just want to set me up and you're just pretending, because a lot has happened to her that she at a point may be questioning reality. She's wondering, is this even real? Am I in the real world, or is there a camera somewhere you guys are waiting to tell me it's a prank? So yeah.
In the course of developing these unhealthy coping mechanisms, can we say that she might pass down this trauma to her baby, to her little girl?
Yeah, there's this it's a bit local, but you find that there are parents who, when things get overwhelming, you're going to start telling them, if let's take Mama Yooh's chance, maybe if she was not pregnant, the only challenge she'd have was her mom passing, so she just had grief. But grief, she'd have been supported, so, or the passing on. So she might look at this chart and she's like, if it's not for you, I not have done that crime. I did that crime to try and fend for me and you. So she might pass it on to her. Or if she doesn't do it that way, you see the hypervigilance of like what's going to come and the overprotection. That is what she's going to pass on, because her child is going to grow up knowing that the world is not safe, and it can't be. If you see the saying of it, when something is too good, when the deal is too good, think twice. So she's going to grow up internalizing that the world is a very chaotic and safe place for her, and she can't trust anyone, because she'll grow up also looking over her shoulder. As I had told you, these things, as much as they're happening to Mama Yooh, they are still happening to these children. So also them, they are, and then there's this thing, like when you are a child, there's these games that kids usually play. So you find that there's this kid who wants, if there's a girl, she wants to be cooking, because when she goes home, she sees her mom is around nurturing. When they're playing, she wants to play mom, she's nursing kids, she's cooking. Then you find a dad is, maybe there is abusive, he wants to play as the abusive dad, because that is what they see. These kids see, it's like monkey see, monkey do. So what they see is what they are going to be doing. So these kids, when they grow up looking over their shoulder, that is what you grow up doing. Then the absence and presence due to her incarceration. I told you that they could develop what we call a disorganized attachment style, which may bring a strain in their romantic relationships or relationships at large, any kind, in the near future. So that is one way in which the trauma may be passed on to these children by Mama Yooh, knowingly or unknowingly, mostly unknowingly.